me no mind. Sports and entertainment video. Gonna jump into some bite down boxing, the weekly recap stuff that I've been doing. I'm on the move this week, as you can see. But yeah, my name is Wood, aka Bam Wilson, the Falcon. We getting ready to go get this bike ride in. That's why I'm on the move today. I can't sit here and waste my daylight with boxing. We did a ton of other stuff this week with boxing, and I gotta work on me. So I'm about to go get these 35 miles in. Shout out to this kid named Evan, I think is his name, on him and his father. I think he's a young amateur boxer from the West Coast. They out riding like 70 miles, 75 miles out in California, up in some mountains and stuff. So, and yeah, if you see that bike in the back fall down, because I didn't put it in there correctly, this is my first time using it, I'm immediately in the video and cry. But no, I don't have a lot of time. I got to get to this parking lot and knock out this ride. But no mystery, no suspense this weekend on the bite down boxing fighter of the weekend. It's WBO middleweight champion Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, who improved to 30-0 with the unanimous decision against Liam Williams from Wales. I thought it was an excellent fight, man, for him. I thought it was a good win. Again, I'm in the school of thought with Eddie Hearn. Like, the dude has a belt. There's money behind him. There's a solid platform behind him. I don't hold it against Demetrius that he can't get a fight. That's a reflection on the state of boxing, And then to see Big Charlo out here with a guy like Juan Montiel after coming off co-headlining a pay-per-view bout. Again, man, I ain't got time to sort none of this stuff out or argue about this stuff, take sides, put on a cape, stand for nobody. Like, the hell with it. But I thought it was a pretty good win, man. He hurt Williams early. Williams had talked plenty of trash, like he was the guy with the heart and the will, the indomitable will, and he didn't have any respect for Demetrius, and so on and so forth. And Boo Boo came out, got his respect early, wobbled him, hurt him. I thought the boxing that Andre displayed was excellent, and I don't think we get to overanalyzing this stuff. Like, he fought Liam Williams like that because he could. He wouldn't do all that stuff against a Charlo or a Triple G or a Canelo or some of the the other elite guys. We act like these guys don't have game plans and don't execute their game plans and so on and so forth. I'm gonna go to the other parking lot. I don't want. He was running him into stuff. He saw he had the footwork advantage, his timing. He was getting that right upper. Usually a southpaw, you thinking he'd land a left uppercut, his backhand. He was hitting him with the right uppercut, having good success. Never allowing a dude like Williams to really set his feet, and not allowing him to get to his second and third punches throughout most of the fight. But shout out to Liam Williams for coming to fight. Could have been a short night. He battled his way through it. Had some success later. Like I said, man, he was tracking and following him around a lot of the fight. Wasn't able to kind of outmaneuver him or get in front of him, anticipating, cut off the ring so that he could get him into the ropes and free swing a little bit and get into some combinations. A lot of times he went to go throw his right hand and he was on the wrong foot because of the sudden stop and go, that Andre was using. So in the second round, Andre drops him, It was shortly right after the referees had separated them, and Liam walked into a 1-2 that dropped him. There's some criticism out there to Andrade about not finishing these guys off, maybe playing it too safe. I don't know, man. I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was entertaining most of the night, or most of the 12 rounds. I thought it got a little interesting late. Another thing about Demetrius is very difficult for an opponent to determine when they've really hurt him and when it's really safe to try to move in or close in and open up on him. He does these big leans, these big shifts from side to side, a lot of the time to his right. So you saw Williams, a lot of times he would walk in wanting to normally throw, but he'd been conditioned from earlier in the fight when he was made to pay. So he didn't go to throw. He went to brace for punches before he went to go get his offense. So it was little subtle things that Demetrius was doing that just showed the levels between the two. I like that Williams didn't run away and hide. He tried to step up the physicality once he was outclassed and get a fight. What's good in that? He tried to make it a fight when he could. He just couldn't get control of the fight. I think he won, I don't know, 2 or 3 rounds, whatever. But a good win for Demetrius. We'll see what's next. I really don't know I won't even go into that because of lack of time. What else was on that card, man? The Carlos Gongora fight in Dayton, Ohio's Christopher Pearson. When you got a guy that comes out, he told you he took the fight on 3.5 weeks notice. I thought he looked a little soft in his upper body. I thought he looked like a dude who had a really shortened camp, in my opinion. I thought he was trying to conserve energy. It's a 12-round fight. It was for the IBO world title fight. Whether you like that organization or respect it or recognize it or not, it was a world title fight. I think Pearson was trying to manage his gas tank to try to do something in the second half of the fight, later in the fight, and it just didn't happen for him. But shout out to Gongora for being firm, for continuing to work. He mixed it up and got a little nasty when Pearson wouldn't straight up fight. And, Pearson took the 8th round or whatever. Pearson tried to show some signs of getting started with his jabbing to the body. But he was taking some headshots, up top from time to time. And then he started having the swollen eye issue and whatnot. And again, with Gongora, he's a dude just signed the Matchroom, just came out of nowhere after taking out Ali Akhmadov. And there's questions about whether he's for real or not. And I thought he came in and had a pretty good performance. He landed that, what was that? Was that a right hook that Pearson ducked down into? And then he turned away and told him, he was pawing at his eye and whatnot. Obviously, the optics of it, Salute fan didn't get to watch the fight. Okay, all right, bro. I'm on the move, man, just doing my thing. I ain't doing the fancy setup today and calls and all that. I'm about to go get this bike ride in, and I'm just jumping on here. But Pearson, I was disappointed how we ended it, but hey, man, that's boxing. Like I said, you take a fight on 3.5 weeks notice against a guy who's ready to go and who's trying to prove, what he's about. It could get ugly in there for you. So I think he gave a decent effort. Wasn't the best ending, but I think, he lives the fight again. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what's next for Gongora. The Majidov cat, Muhammad, I don't have his name in front of me, but Majidov and Fedosov, the Russian, way to jump on the guy. Fedosov hadn't fought in like 3 years, I think they said. Landed the right hand that dropped Majidov, who was jabbing pretty well. And then just fell on his ankle bad. His foot was planted underneath him. And You know, who knows if he broke it or it's a high ankle sprain, a fourth degree, third, well, who knows? But he wasn't able to continue. But shout out to Fedosov for taking advantage of his moment. I did want to get to the Toledo cat before I get to the Fox action. Otha Jones III lost an important fight to Jorge Castaneda. I think they fought at super featherweight, I believe. Hell of a matchup for young Otha Jones, coming off of a draw in a fight that he may have actually lost or may have deserved to lose last time out in Mexico. But he comes in now against a dude who's 13-1 out of Laredo, Texas, and looked pretty good the first 2 rounds. And I think that's it's my critique and constructive criticism of young Otha Jones. I said this a few fights ago with him. I think he needs to learn how to break up the action of a fight. You know, he ran out of gas late, and that's when Castaneda had his best moments, landed some flush shots to the head. And that's because I feel like Otha Jones III never backs out and just takes some time, take a walk. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to fight the entire three minutes. You know, I know some guys like Chocolatito, that's his style. But even when you watch Chocolatito, when Chocolatito gets inside, he takes breaks in moments. He's not always punching, but he has little subtle defensive tactics that he uses where he allows himself to take breaks, and he's not taking clean punches. Another thing that Otha Jones, who switches, you know, to southpaw and back to the conventional stance, he should be looking at Demetrius Andrade. Use your footwork. That's what your legs are for. Like, you don't have to throw punches and engage the entire 3 minutes. And, you know, I know his team. I know Otha Jones' team, the Jones family. I know they know this and can put this together, but, you know, he's in a bad situation now because he's lost, you know, a fight as a young fighter. I think he's, 5-1-1 now. I don't think it's over for him. I'm not saying he should go find another career. I just think they went out being very ambitious and trying to get the young kid up in the rankings and fighting 8 and 10 rounders. And boxing is a sport where a lot of times you can't cut corners. You can't shorten the process. And you know, he doesn't have an O anymore. That's not the end of the world for the kid. I just think he has to learn how to fight as a pro fighter. You saw when he got Castaneda up in the ropes late in the fight, he kind of took control of the fight and changed the real estate of the fight and bought himself some time. Like, tie a dude up. Make the referee tell you threaten to take a point away from you. You know, if you're tired, you're tired. But you can't lose the fight. You can't lose to fighters that you should be. And, you know, if you can't throw punches for 3 minutes, you got to use your legs. You got to use some combination of some stuff. So I just think, you know, it was a bad look for him. It's still time. And I hope they figure it out. I'm not going to talk about the Bayer-Slanov fight against Mercado. That was a pretty decent fight. Bayer-Slanov still has to do some work. What else? Let's switch over to the Fox card, PBC on Fox. You know, this competitive boxing debating shit that people like to do is funny to me. To sit up and compare DAZN and PBC and to take sides and to criticize the other platform, I just find that hilarious, man. Like, seriously, who the fuck would sit around and waste time arguing up or talking up Vito Milnicki or Omar Juarez? Omar Juarez is a friend of the program, friend of the channel. You know, he's been on for a couple of live streams. I have nothing against him, and good win for him yesterday. But to sit back and talk about the DAZN undercard is trash, and then to get on the Fox card and argue about the merits of Milnicki, who lost the fight, and Omar Juarez being in a co-main event. Come on, fam. Like, really? Like, that's what we doing? Like, sometimes just sit back and watch the fights, man. I mean, everything doesn't need to be argued. I mean, you gonna sit here and waste your Saturday night texting and tweeting and Instagramming about Vito Milnicki, who had 8 rounds to do everything he needed to do. James Martin just fought Xander Zayas at welterweight a couple of weeks ago. Xander Zayas beat his ass. Made it look easy. Here's Milnicki. Were they at 154? I think they might have been up at 154. But Martin coming off of a loss. I think he lost his O to Xander Zayas, who fights next Saturday on Navarrete and Diaz on Top Rank. So you can see that kid again. I think he's on there. But James Martin, shout out to him. He came in there, walking that man down, walking forward, throwing punches. And then we want to sit here and say, well, he ain't hitting hard enough. Well, how the fuck did Paulie Malignaggi have a whole career and win titles in 2 divisions if now we're not going to give cats credit because they don't have power or above average power or good power? The dude got the victory, man. He deserved that, the win, and they gave it to him. And Milnicki got exposed. I wouldn't even say he got exposed. He's just... Here's a dude you got on primetime TV, and I don't think he was really ready. That's why you didn't see Otha Jones III on the Zone stream, because it's still some questions about what the kid is, really. Lastly, before getting into Harrison and Perrella, I think it's also, man, sitting there watching that fight, Milnicki and even the Omar Juarez fight, it's some people that wasted their time arguing and debating, competitive debating about what Teofimo Lopez Jr. was when he was on his way up. And that's kind of what's showing me what was really, so instead of sitting back and then kind of enjoying how special Lopez is, it was people that wanted to debate, he ain't doing nothing, he ain't nobody, he ain't nothing. But Top Rank was able to move that young man along over a year and a half, and the dude kept doing bigger and better stuff. But again, we got people out here caping for the different promoters, talking about what the dude isn't. So what are these 2 dudes? What is Joey Spencer? What are any of these young PBC guys if they can't be moved in the manner that Teofimo Lopez was? Like, again, just shut the hell up and watch the fights sometimes, man. We gotta rush to between every round, we gotta rush to our phones to give our great breakdown on some prospect. That shit is weird to me. All of this shit is on a case-by-case basis. But anyway, Juarez, I thought he had a pretty decent fight against, what was my man's name? Ahuado or something. I thought it was a pretty decent win for him. But again, you know, he's a guy, the knockouts went away. Now he's going, you know, to a decision for every win. And it'll be, damn, this shit closed. Oh, fuck. I gotta drive around. Oh, fucking shit. Oh, I guess I can get in. Anyway, Harrison and Perrella. Harrison looked kind of heavy-legged or something at first. It looked like he was a little heavy on his legs. And it looked like at first he thought he was going to be able to walk through Perrella and get him out of there, and really didn't have to respect the kid a whole lot. And he said as much in the talk, in the lead up to the fight. You know, he was kind of dismissive of Perrella, thinking that he was really a welterweight coming up to where he's been. He's a former world champion. You know, he was trying to make the kid look bad. And you know, they mentioned that he didn't have a lot of familiarity with southpaws. I think that was kind of evident. He couldn't get his range together early up in the fight. Sometimes he went to throw his right hand. He either was reaching too much or he was too close. And I think also, man, he didn't go to the body a whole lot. And that's because with Perrella in that southpaw stance, the left hook is closed. The left hook isn't there like it normally is. And I just think he became, he just jabbed all night. But his jab wasn't all that accurate. I think at times Perrella had the jab figured out and he didn't even bother slipping the jab or, wasting a lot of excess energy. He knew, he had a good idea of when he was in range, when he wasn't. And Harrison was just flicking that jab and not hitting a whole lot. What's up, D-Lo Brown? I'm about to get this ride in, man, so I'm about to jump off of here. But shout out to Perrella, man. I think he took the chances. He came forward in times, got up under some shots, and came forward to land his left hand. He landed some uppercuts. I think at least 2 times he visibly had Harrison hurt. Looked like it was in a little bit of trouble because, again, we still question Harrison's gas tank a little bit. So I think he had the more dramatic moments in the fight and made the most of his opportunity, and I think he deserved to win that fight, to be honest. My man Latoris texted me that was the best outcome that Harrison could have hoped for with the split decision draw. I agree 100%. And that's why I asked Perrella, in the press conference Tuesday, I think when they had the conference call, again, guys don't take chances, guys don't take fights. Again, for a Charlo to be fighting a Juan Montiel, coming off of a co-headline in a pay-per-view bout, and that's the opponent that you go out against next. I don't know what the hell is going on in some of this boxing. I'm not going to sit here and argue. Whatever, man. Y'all make the fights. I watch the fights, and I talk about the fights. That's all I can really do. Harrison, his brother, LJ, I think is his name. LJ really didn't. I don't think LJ really gave his brother a realistic, a realistic account of what was happening in the ring and why Tony was losing that fight or had a good chance to lose the fight. That's another question that I asked Tony in the press conference. Is it good? Is it a good thing for you to come back against an opponent the level of right? Is it a good thing that you're coming back against a Perrella where you get a chance to test your corner out to see if there's any drop off from your father, the late Ali, I can't think of his last name, Salam, with Ali, not being around anymore, is it a chance for you to gauge how you might have to tighten the ship up based on how the corner performs? And I think, LJ was very relaxed, encouraging, but I think his information was bad. And that could be critical. You move on to a bigger fight. So who knows what they do if they run that back. We saw a similar situation with Kyron Davis and Darrell last time out. They had to draw. I thought Perrella won the fight, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Other than that, man, I really I missed the African cat. I don't know how to say Edifochi, the dude who was in the prelims. That softball game or whatever the hell it was on Fox Sports. It ran over. Oh, it was a baseball game. It ran over, and I didn't have Fox Business, I think was the channel that they started the prelims on. So I didn't see the African cat, the cruiserweight, who got like a third or fourth round knockout. I really wanted to check him out, just to see if he's a dude that can make some noise up at at cruiserweight, but maybe I'll have to catch a replay of it or something. All in all, man, I just thought it was a decent night of fight. Again, I'm a huge proponent of the earlier fights. Some people gonna get on here and talk about why is a world champion fighting at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night versus the after midnight starts, all that bullshit. I don't care what time they fight. The earlier the better, in my opinion, to be honest. But that's just me. Let me get this ride in, man. Y'all have a phenomenal day and set up a phenomenal week. I'm about to try to knock out these 35 miles and work on myself. Bite down boxing, don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.